Is the young blood the actual solution for rejuvenation and anti-aging?
Do you think one day humans able to live forever?
We will be able to live up to 120 years old, or potentially 150. But after 120, we do need to replace our body parts. Human will be more similar to machine. We will become hybrid.
Alina Su, she's a CEO, biotech inventor and entrepreneur who has developed a test that helps us target and reverse aging. She is here to unveil her company's new technology that could be the first step towards achieving immortality.
My mission, why I'm living on this earth, is actually extending human life as much as possible. Before we're inventing any of the longevity therapeutics or longevity drug, is first to understand how can we accurately measure aging. If you can reverse aging, you can prevent every single disease from happening, which is the root of every single thing. Like solving that is solving everything at once.
It's about preventative.
Totally. That's what we discovered, that what's actually making us old is an accumulation of biological.
I want to start with a very controversy questions because I heard about this term coming from GQ that's been brought to the public eyes, which called the blood boy. And could you tell us what is it like? It just sounds so crazy as an idea that you transplant the young people's blood to the old people.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, thanks for having me. And it's very interesting for us to take a look at blood boys, as this is what get published on not only for Fortune and also on GQ, Silicon Valley's.
Yes.
There's many series talking about blood boys actually getting young people's plasma transfused into like older people to reverse biological aging. But think of aging itself has been discussed like more than a centuries. Like in past centuries, it's the vampires who wants to live forever. And it's currently Silicon Valley blood boys. And for the future stage, what we are seeing now is way over what we published for plasma transfusions. So in early 2022, we first published a paper led by Dr. Alina Su, who is the inventor and godmother of longevity, first discovered that after exchanging blood between young mice and old mice actually became younger. But at the same time, young mice became older. So at that time, people were asking, is the young blood the actual solution for rejuvenation and anti-aging? And people starting to exchanging blood on themselves from a younger people to themselves, wishing that the rejuvenation can happen on them, like similar to what happens in the Silicon Valley shows. But that's actually not scientifically been proven. What we have discovered in around 2019 is that it's not the young plasma that's working. It's the dilution of the old plasma. That is actually how it's working. So think of, there was two theories at that time. One is young plasma can reverse biological age. Second is the dilution of the old plasma can remove all of the cell inflammations and also cell cytokines that accumulates in your body. And we proved that this is actually how it's working. It's not the young blood. It's the removal of the old plasma is actually how it's able to be recirculating all of the things in your body and rejuvenate yourself back to young.
Okay, so if I, in a way, understanding in my mind, it would be like when I'm getting older with age, it's not really I'm getting older, rather than my blood have some things that is causing the aging. And then by getting those things out and adding in your medical cocktails, then I'm able to inject it back so that it will be the same quality as a younger person.
Right. So think of aging as a entropy that's always accumulating as a second law of thermodynamics. And we have discovered that aging not only is accumulating always in your body, but it's also actually able to be slowing down and even reversible. So think of changing a fish tank's water in a fish tank. The water is always getting dirtier if you're not changing the water. But after you're actually removing the water and change the new water in, it will get clearer again. But through the time along passing by, the blood will be getting older and older, which is dirtier. And the accumulation of the chronic inflammation and cell cytokines will make it become dirty again. So you need to change again. So this is what we are That's what we discovered, that what's actually making us old is the accumulation of biological noise, which is the paper that we have published on the front cover of Aging back in last year. The first discovery of biological noise and how we can actually measuring it. So right now we are at the stage of not only we can slow down the aging, we can actually measure in our body what is your age level looks like, which is what is the biological noise led to the biological age. And most importantly, where is that biological noise coming from your body, which is why are you aging currently? Where is that aging coming from? And how can you personalizely solving or reversing aging?
Wow, that was such a beautiful vision.
Yeah.
And could you develop this idea of biological noise? And what was it? And is that the similar noise for everyone in a sense?
Yeah. So think of entropy is the second law of thermodynamics that's always accumulating in the entire universe, not only us, but also every single thing that you're seeing in this universe. What we are seeing is aging is very similar way. It's not a linear journey. So think of currently there is a lot of biological age clock out there. There's 36 of them. But none of them are actually representing how biology performs, because they're assuming that from young to old, you're having a straight line of getting from young and getting to old. But how you're aging biologically is not having one gray hair per day, which means aging itself is not linear. And that's what we have proven last year on the front cover of Aging by publishing a paper saying, first, aging is not linear. Actually, the first acceleration of the aging happens at when you're 25 years old. And then you will get into a plateau. And then you will have another acceleration around mid-40 and get into a plateau. And around 55 to 60, you'll have another acceleration of the aging. And this acceleration not only happens in DNA methylation, it also occurs on metabolism, RNA-seq, and also proteomics in different way of central dogma that you can see. The accumulation of the aging is not linear. And the most important thing is we need to know where are you along this journey, because how long you have lived, which is your passport age, cannot identify what is your biological age, cannot represent what is your body's age currently. So the first thing before we're inventing any of the longevity therapeutics or longevity drug is first to understand how can we accurately measure aging. Thus, to understand how aging is happening for different people. Is it mainly from your heart, from your liver, from your muscle, from your brain? All of these organs are aging differently as well. That's why aging has been studied for more than a decade, but not yet we are having a longevity therapeutics yet, because before we have actually commercialized the product, nobody can actually quantify accurately how aging is happening and why aging is happening and how different people are aging differently in their body. So for us to develop the aging therapeutics, not only for us, for the entire industry, we need this standard of measurement, how aging is developed in people's body, and what is the top aging factors for them to actually collecting the healthy aging data.
That is very, very interesting, because in my mind, I actually like to put a picture on all the terms that you have said here. So imagine myself as a car. So when I'm born, that would be the brand new car, right? When I was reaching to 25, the car started getting a little bit tired. I reached a certain plateau.
Or having some of the noise that you are hearing from your brakes, from your engine. And this biological age test or biological noise test is similar to the dashboard that's on your car. It's a light that would light up saying, hey, you might need to check on your engine. Hey, your car is still fine, but you're hearing some noise from your engine or brake. You might need to have a little check on that, or doing a maintenance to the car so it's able to last as long as possible.
That's good. So after I know what's really going on in different organs and their age and their state, then I can do the intervention accordingly.
Exactly.
Rather than just self-diagnose this because I have a sneeze and then say, let's do something.
Yes. So this is what you're seeing. The entire industry is pivoting away from sick care into health care. So sick care is mainly after you're getting sick, we'll get you medicine, we'll get you treatments, we'll get you different prevention for the disease. But this is already too late. What we are seeing is what we actually should do is healthcare to extend the health span as much as possible, thus extending the lifespan. When we mention longevity, there's a lot of people are saying that I don't want to live to 120, I don't want to live to like 200 years, but it's not the actual meaning of it. Longevity means we want to extend your health span, which is when you're 100 years old, you're still having the body of yourself right now.
Yeah.
So it's not getting old till 120. It's getting your health being extended as much as possible. So you're actually not getting disease and getting use as much as possible in your body.
Yeah, I like that because I recently talking to my one of the best dentists in UK, and he says if you take a good care of your teeth, you can keep your original teeth until you're 100 years old.
Yeah.
I think everything is about how long you see yourself about living.
Yes.
And then I really love what you said about think about your blood. If it doesn't getting clear or cleaned, you can basically do some treatment about it before it's too late, right?
Right. So think of a car, like you will change the oil for your car, you will do maintenance for your car, but you never do that to your body.
Yeah.
The body itself is a machine as well that's having a operation of functions. Different part of your body is having different function that representing of it. Why don't we start to taking care of our own body and waiting till it's starting to break down and then starting to using medicine to get it. So this is what we're seeing in the entire healthcare industry is actually now focusing on health rather than sick care. Yes.
Yeah, it's about preventative.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you mentioned that thing about, when HBO brought out this series on Silicon Valley, I have watched that series. It's very amusing. And then I remember the moment Kevin, the character in that show, exchange the blood with a younger guy. I feel that's so much like a science fiction. And now you have brought it into your clinic. Can you tell us how did you start this whole journey of starting the Generation Lab?
Yeah. So it was started out by Dr. Irina Comboy's work, where she first discovered that aging is reversible by exchanging the plasma. Yeah. But later than that, we have actually discovered that it's not the young plasma that's working. It's a dilution of the old blood that can removing all of the inflammation and also cell cytokines accumulated, which means now the latest technology, we don't need to use the young blood anymore. We actually use the synthetic albumin to replace the blood in your body. So in that case, it can eliminate all of the cell cytokines and inflammation from your body, including the microplastic that has been accumulated for many years. And after I've seen her paper, when I went to Berkeley, the first thing after I saw her is, Irina, you should commercialize this into a technology, like actual company and product that can actually people able to use it in their life rather than just publishing a paper and a patent. Yeah. Because this is really amazing. And this is the true turning point that can actually not only slow down aging, but actually reversing it. And the first thing she said is, nope. it's a very
straightforward.
Nope. And I was like, why? She said she never considered to did a company at that time, and she is already 60. And it took me a short amount of time, about 5 years.
Well, if you live 150 years old, I'm sure 5 years can be short.
So I started to buy her a latte, and I later know that she never drinks latte, but she recognized that I just want to talk to her for every day for 15 minutes to 20 minutes. I started to buy her latte every day, and that's how the conversation got started. And I was also in her lab as a student and researcher. So I went to Berkeley, I was in Irina Comboy's lab and doing research in Comboy's lab at the same time. Well, I couldn't convince Irina to start a company when I was 19 back then. I actually told her that, then why don't you just be on my board of advisor to see how I build a company. So my first company I built starting from when I was 19, when I was still in Berkeley. It's a medical device company. And then Irina was my board advisor for a scientific board that's sitting there and see how I built something from ground up. We raised money, sold the company, so it was a exit. And then Irina recognized that, okay, I do have the ability. It took me 5 years to prove that I can actually do this thing, and I really want to commercialize the technology for the good of human beings. And that's when she recognized that, okay, there is actually a chance to commercialize this technology. And then one day, after I went to Harvard doing my PhD with George Church in med school, Irina called me saying, hey, the tech is ready. Let's commercialize this.
Wow.
And after she hung up, I'm like, okay, this is the moment I have to make a decision whether I'm going to stay in Harvard to continue my PhD or move to San Francisco to build a company for full time. That was a big decision because
Yes.
as a Asian parents, as you know, they're very big in like whether you're staying in school or dropping out. But I didn't tell them and directly paused my PhD and moved to San Francisco with Irina and also my another co-founder, Michael Suso. And he just sold his last company, which is $1 billion company called Standard AI. So 3 of us started this company together called Generation. And this name actually has a meaning that Generation Lab represents we are the first generation of the human being that actually is able to be extending the health span, thus the lifespan. So 100 years old is not impossible. 120 is the end goal that we're aiming to extending human health span and lifespan. And 3 of us, very fun that 3 of us is from different generations. Irina is in her 60s, Michael is in his 40s, and I'm in my 20s. Wow. And 3 different generations coming together, building one company with a common mission of extending human health span.
That's a beautiful vision. And I imagine personally to brought up such a new idea to the market, especially to the commercial world. I imagine, okay, I don't know, you probably heard a lot of people say that's a bad idea and all of that. And do you have any controversy, like review from other people in the industry? How does people react when you first brought this idea to the market?
Well, here's the thing. If something is gonna happen, it doesn't matter if it's gonna take 1 day or 1 year or 10 years or 100 years for people to recognizing it. Before the car has been invented, people are saying, why don't we just have a faster horse?
Yeah, or bigger.
Or bigger wheels.
Yeah.
Or bigger road. If the thing is going to be happen, it doesn't matter what people are saying for at all. Yeah. Because the technology will be driven fast enough and people will start to appreciate it and recognizing this is a possibility. So when you are the first one who is seeing the sunlight, you just have to wait till everyone is seeing the same thing as you were saying. And it just takes time.
I share your vision.
Yeah.
Like, I believe if some technology or something is supposed to happen for the good of the whole human beings, the time will help you because it's not your personal mission. It's actually a mission of the whole human races.
Exactly.
So I think there has one quote said, then the whole power of the universe will come
and help you.
Yeah, and help you.
Yes. So this is not really about the company. This is about, we see the possibility on scientific discovery, and we see the accumulation of 20 years of research in Combo Lab has been transferred into a product that can actually brought by us to general public. So this is something that has to be happen and must happen according to the lifetime that we are having for human races, not only just for our own beneficiaries.
Yes, I feel that's a very, very beautiful vision. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because it's so fascinating. You are so young. How old are you? Would you mind if I asking?
Yeah, my biological age.
Yeah.
Or chronological age.
Biological age.
Well, my biological age is 23 years old.
Wow.
My chronological age is a little bit older because I work in longevity. Yeah. So in longevity world, we don't talk about chronological age because everyone is going to be, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
The accumulation of the experience and also the accumulation of what you have experienced before is the representation of what you're accomplished and what you're possibly able to do. So chronological age doesn't mean anything. Like how long time have you lived up to this date? Yeah. Doesn't really matter a lot of things. Actually, it really matters is how much you can reverse in your biological age back to an earlier stage. Yeah. And that's what we are working on mainly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think you have achieved a lot in such a young age. And could you tell us a little bit of your background and what making you have this vision and what is your mission in life?
Yeah, so it's a very good question because in very early days, before around when I was 11-ish, I recognized that my mission, why I'm living on this earth, is actually extending human life as much as possible, which means my grandpa passed away very early stage before my birth. I never see him, but he is a very high impactful entrepreneur, similar to my dad and also me. So I guess that's in my blood of doing entrepreneurship. But what I recognize that is people have very limited amount of time that's on this earth, which is 30,000 days. So I actually did a calculation for myself that if I've limited amount of time on this earth, 30,000 days exactly, what kind of things do I need to do to have the most impact? So even that I'm not on this earth, people can still use the thing that I've built with the lifetime that I've spent on this universe. So I recognize two things. One is life, which is extending life and health as much as possible. Because if you're not on this earth, then nothing
you're out of the
exists.
game, right?
You're out of the game. You have to stay in this game and play in this game as much as possible. So health and life is what I really want to able to be working on. And the second is, it doesn't really matter how long you live. It matters what kind of impact are you leaving for this earth, for this world to be generated. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as it's able to be impacting the world. That is the thing what you should be working on. So I recognize that I've limited amount of time very soon in the early days when I was growing up. And I moved to the US when I was 15-ish in my early high school to LA. And then I went to Berkeley. I directly get full scholarship from Harvard Med School to do my PhD in med school, doing aging and rejuvenative medicine research. But that was when I first fascinated by it, is when I was 15. It was my first internship that's in the hospital. And that hospital, I went to a neurodegenerative disease department because that's why my grandpa was passed away. I want to find a solution for this disease that's able to be reversing it or able to cure more people. And I found out that it's nearly impossible after the disease has been happened and to reversing it. The only possibility at that time, I think, was stem cell, which is giving people a second chance to actually standing up again and reversing their disease. A second chance to be healthier again. So that was when I was fascinated by rejuvenative and regenerative medicine and how we can actually reversing the aging back to young. So think of aging itself. It's not a process. It's actually a prevention of all of the disease all at once. If you can reverse aging, you can prevent every single disease from happening, which is the root of every single thing. Like solving that is solving everything at once. So that was when I was fascinated by regenerative medicine and also aging. And that's why I got into Irina's lab. That's why I got into the entire thing and working on generation.
Oh, that is beautiful. Part of, when I heard about your story, two things. First, I believe the person we love keep teaching us a lesson even when they pass away. And there has a quote from an artist I love. He said, the person we love became the ghost in our heart. Like this, we keep them alive.
Yes.
Right. And then the second thing is, I really like the way you're thinking about saving, like, let's call it aging a disease. So you come from the fundamental. When you think about aging as a grand picture, it seems very complicated. But when you break it down in the way you did, I believe it is a simple equation that you just, solve it one step at a time from its meta cost. And I think you have mentioned about the measurement of our biological age. And wondering what is the process like in your lab, and why do you think it's important, and what in the generation labs test you are looking at?
So how we're quantifying biological age is by measuring the biological noise in your body. So think of the noise accumulation is coming from your stress, your lifestyle. It's the noise that's for different molecules in your body biologically. It's expressing in a different way of randomness. So very similar to entropy. That's what we're referring to when we're saying biological noise. And this noise, as you're aging, is only going to be accumulated. So what we are measuring is actually how we built this test is by using 500,000 of the healthy data point of individuals from 25 to 80s, we actually mapped out how human is aging. So that's how we recognize that aging is not linear. It's actually accelerating and getting to a plateau. And what we are seeing is how different, like what is the standard deviation between you and also those healthy populations of the aging. So we can actually map out where are you biologically, like in your body, what is the age of your body biologically? And that is referred as biological age. So biological age is not only a number, it can actually tell you where are you along your journey of aging and health. And most importantly, how can you actually be reversing it? Because just telling you that you are 30 doesn't have any meanings. We need to tell you why are you currently accelerating in aging and where is that biological noise actually is coming from. So what we are measuring is in the lab is DNA methylation, which is a epigenetic that expressed on your gene. So think of human body is having two parts similar to computer. One is the hardware, which is the code of the DNA is never changing. Your hair color, your skin color, none of these are changing. This is what 23andMe is testing. Like these should never be changed across your entire life. But another part is called epigenetic, which is actually more important for you because this is determined over 80% of what you're currently expressing as your health and also disease. So epigenetic is what we are testing. And epigenetic is changing every day in your body according to how much did you sleep, what is your stress level, what is your lifestyle currently look like. That's why a lot of 80% of disease happening is actually based on epigenetic. This is controlling how your gene is expressed. So that's the software of the body that's always changing. So in the lab, what we are doing is we customize a chip with Illumina together. And this chip is having more than 250K, including the 460 specific age-related CPG sites, which is gene sites that we're testing. How are you currently aging in your body? After this test, doing all of the methylation, we will be analyzing the data and break it down into your organs age to tell you what is the age of your brain, what is the age of your heart, what is the age of your reproductive system. Some of the females cannot able to pregnant in their 30s. It's not because they're genetically not available. It's because they're overstressed and their reproductive health has been already very accelerated in aging. So for these cases, they need to reverse their aging first and then starting to do, for example, IVF to have a higher success rate and also better quality of the eggs. So this is the second step, how we are mapping aging systems in different, 19 different systems in your body, like how your body is aging. But most importantly is the third step, which is a personalized way how you can actually reversing the aging. So after this analyzation, we will tell you, based on Méline's aging profile, the best way for her to reverse aging is to use rapamycin rather than serotonin, because what's causing her age is mainly inflammation. Vitamin D will not able to solving this problem. Or even between vitamin C or omega-3, we'll be able to tell omega-3 is a better fit for you because right now your brain might be accelerating way more compared to your immune system. So this is the way how we are actually quantifying aging, the root cause of it, and also able to tell you what is the best way for you to reversing it.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel what got measured got changed, right? Before this new, I would say this is a new way to see the world.
Yes.
Then we just thought, okay, that's it. I'm this age, that's it. I never even consider there's a possibility I reverse it. But now, like, we have modern technologies that, from my understanding, 23andMe, like the test like that, they are telling you what's going on in your DNA, which is like the book.
Yes.
And then the epigenetic, which is the Generation Labs test, is about how your genes is fired together, like basically tell your genes how to react.
Right.
So when we know both of that, it's actually gave us a chance to actually do something about it rather than just accept it.
Actionable is very important
It's power.
because it is, you have to know about yourself to actually able to be action. 23andMe and all of these DNA tests is not actionable. Knowing that you have 20% of the chance to getting Alzheimer's doesn't mean anything that you can do right now. But for epigenetic, you can actually control and seeing, for example, the vitamin D that you're eating for 7 weeks before and after, you can see your bone age or immune system's age has been reversed. So this data is actually in your hand to take control of it. And we are seeing this test as a power and tool, as a launch pad for yourself to get onto a healthier version, a better version of yourself
Yeah, I love that. And then from another perspective, when you said we're testing, the age of 19 organs, after I know the test, let's say if some organ doing extremely good, some organ doing extremely even older than my age, what am I supposed to do with it? Is your company going to give a consultation or some suggestion afterwards?
Yes. So this test comes along with a doctor consultation for free. And the longevity doctor will be going through the report with you, telling you what is currently causing you aging in your body, what is the top aging factor, what should we do according to that, and giving you a prevention plan according to your aging profile.
Yeah.
So this test not only will tell you what is your biological age in your body down to 19 different systems and also organ, but also telling you what is the best way for you to reversing it. And the doctor will be going through that with you together to analyzing this for you to let you know what is the best way for you to slow down the aging.
Yeah.
And after this, you can do the treatments. No matter what you're choosing, you can do another test to test out the efficacy, or do it quarterly to see how your body has been changing. Maybe as a founder, you're raising recently and you might be having more stress than usual, and you can see your biological age has been more accelerated. But after that, like going to equinox and eating good supplements, eating good food, having a good lifestyle, sleeping 8 hours per day, you might be seeing your biological age is reversible, like actually getting younger than yourself. So this is not really a scary test that people will be scared of, because this is not a disease diagnostic. And most importantly, this is reversible of the aging.
I think the reversible part is what got me intrigued.
Right.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to cause you more stress.
Yeah, totally. And just telling you what is your biological noise level and biological age is important, but it's not the true solution. What we are creating in Generation Lab is actually the solution that can reversing your age back to young, and actually reversing your biological age down to each single cell in your body, like back to young. So that is based on the TPE that we have discovered, therapeutic plasma exchange, which is already a FDA approved therapy process by eliminating the old plasma and getting the new plasma in. And this is currently used on after organ transplant. There's immunorejections on human body. And this is the process people usually perform on the patients to get rid of the inflammation and also cell cytokines that's in their body. And what we are doing is to developing the next generation of the cocktail that's synthetic albumin that's able to be replacing it, having a stronger rejuvenation effect. So for the first version of the plasma dilution, there's many very well-known people has been doing it, like Brian Johnson, Peter Diamandis. So all of these people has been doing the first generation of the plasma dilution.
Is that the one to exchange his son's blood?
It's actually different from exchanging with his sons, because what he did before was directly exchanging the blood, the whole blood, with his son and also with his dad. And he is seeing his dad is able to be reversing biological age for 25 years old.
But will his son getting older?
No, it's only taking out the blood.
Okay.
So that's fine. But the latest therapy that he did is what we have developed as a longevity therapeutics, which is changing with pure albumin and the cocktail of the longevity. So we don't need any of the younger people's blood. It's purely by the synthetic plasma, like synthetic albumin, that we are changing. And with this cocktail, it's safer because you're not using anybody else's plasma. And it's also more scalable because it's a albumin-based solution. So it's safer, there's no immunorejection, and it's more scalable and potentially cheaper. So that's what we are developing with the data that we are collecting. And the reason we actually developed this test is because we have tested out 36 different aging clocks currently on the market. And we found none of it is actually able to telling us what's working and what's not. So aging clock is not able to be differentiating who is sick and who is not biologically, because it's a mathematical model that every single dots will be aligned on that straight line. So that's why we have developed the biological noise, because the noise of the standard deviation can tell you how far are you along that line of the accumulation. So if you're healthy, you will be having a smaller standard deviation. If you're not healthy, you'll having a larger standard deviation from that line. So that's why we have developed this test, actually is for us to collecting more true efficacy data, not only for people how they're aging, but also whether the therapies that they have been using, no matter it's stem cell, vitamin D, omega-3, like gene therapy, whether that has been efficient or not.
Yeah.
And how is it actually working in the body?
Yeah, so actually one thing I'm always believing in is you need to listen to your body, how you feel. Many people, they just keep taking supplements or things. First of all, they don't do a lot of research.
Yeah.
They only do it to feel better. But are they really doing something good to your body, or they actually damage your body? If you don't have a measurement, it's like you are running in the dark.
Exactly. So that's what we are seeing in the entire aging research is everyone is running in the dark. Like you don't have a measurement tool that can actually quantify the efficacy of it. So when you think you need vitamin D, it's actually a lot of advertisement telling you that vitamin D is good for you, and you're starting to take vitamin D, or telling you NMN is good for you, NAD plus is good for you, and you're starting to taking that. But did that actually work?
Yeah.
Do you actually need that?
Yeah.
None of us is able to be quantifying before the test actually exists. So now we can actually quantify what is the biological noise and also age in your body, and how the supplement that you're taking or the treatment you're doing is impacting your age.
Yeah, but I do have a question. It might sound as a critic because, we all know a few years ago there has a bad news on that bad blood. I believe the founder is called Elizabeth Holmes, right? One day she claimed that you can do this test simply at home, but then it turns out to be a total false.
Yeah.
Just want to get it clear out there. How accurate are those data, and how you make sure that's a true data?
Yeah, so it's very important to base on science, right?
Yeah.
For the 20 years of the research that we did, we actually accumulated a lot of data, not only from UK Biobank, but also a lot of things from our proprietary data by doing plasma exchange. And not only that is published on web that you guys can take a look at, not only for a clinical trial, but also in a lot of different papers. Like we have published over 200 to 300 papers and more than 30 patents surrounding this. So it's not a blink in the eyes that we have developed this. This is the 20 years of the science that brought to you within this box, and how we are analyzing the data, how we are understanding aging in your system, how we are understanding each different organ in your body is aging in different ways, and how you can actually base on that to provide actionable items. So every step is accumulated by a long time of the research that we need to debug it in science and commercialize it into a product that, for example, in this test, we can take a look at what we have commercialized as a science in different parts. We need to make sure that the registration process is being very protected. So that's why every single one, when they're scanning this QR code, this is how you're registering the test. Yeah. So this is HIPAA compliant, all of the data privacy things that we have to protect. Yeah. We don't know your name, we only know your kid ID. This is the name of the test that you're doing. And after this, it has to be very convenient for people to collect the samples at their home, not in the doctor's office. Yeah. So it's very important for us to able to collecting this. And this is the technology called TASO. It's using a negative pressure to suck your blood out, similar to mosquitoes, and collecting about 0.5 milliliter of the blood that's stick on your arm. After click once, you will be able to collecting the blood that's in a small tube and then shipping back to us into this envelope. So the entire thing that you're seeing is making sure how the blood collection is being very simple and also very de-anonymized at the same time. It's easier for people to get this in their home. So this
is this available in US only, or you can
US,
do it in UK?
US
I'm from
and,
UK.
Yeah, I know. We're exploring the Europe market right now. So we will be opening Europe market very soon. Currently, we're in US, Canada, and Mexico. And we are expanding in a very fast speed. So what we have done is a clinical double-blind validation. This is actually the only test that has been double-blinded validated, that we test without knowing who is sick and who is not. For example, people with arthritis and people who is healthy, giving their sample at once to us, letting us to tell them who is aging faster. We can clearly differentiate who is having a faster aging in their, when they're having arthritis versus a healthy individuals. So that's the test result. We have been published on the front cover of Aging last year, and also published another paper actually 3 days ago on bioRxiv. So people can check that out.
I'm wondering, what are the biggest misconceptions in the public that what people think you are doing versus what you're really doing?
Yeah, there is many people that might be considering aging itself as a longevity is trying to be extending people mainly for who is wealthy. Like as a longevity industry, people think it's a small market, but it's actually a massive market of $8.8 trillion because it's not a disease. Think of it as this is the only thing that's impacting every single life that's on the earth. And the reason that the wealthies are the one who is getting this first is actually because of the price.
Yeah.
And after we are decreasing the price, which is what we're actually doing in Generation Lab right now, we will be able to make this happen to every single people. Think of Botox.
Yes.
Like it's wealthy who was using it as the first because the cost is expensive and it's very limited supply. But as the cost is becoming like more and more cheap, people will be able to use it like ranging from 20s to 80s to 90s. Every single person who is living will be the supply and also will be the demand of the technology of the aging.
And just for the people who don't know what is the TPE process, could you use a simple term about how it is, and what is the effect afterwards?
Yeah. So how it's performed is you will be lying on the bed, similar to getting 2 IV at the same time, but one of it is getting your blood out and it's going to be spun in a centrifuge. So separating it into your plasma, and which is the yellow part, and another part is your red blood cells and also platelets, which is the red part.
Yeah.
And these two is going to be separated. Your yellow part, which is the old plasma, will be thrown out. About 2 liters, which is about 2/3 of your blood, will be thrown out. And the rest of it is going to be returning back to your body. And with the new albumin-based cocktail. Yeah. So this is the way how the entire process is going to be performed. Yeah. And that's currently used on a clinical therapies as after organ transplant, or if you're having autoimmune disease, treating autoimmune disease performed on patients. Yeah. But currently it's expanded as a longevity treatment in healthy populations. Like a lot of different users are actually using it who is super famous. Doing a plasma transfusion will be able to remove the cell cytokines, inflammation, and also microplastic has been accumulated in your body. And these things cannot be removed from our body except for doing this process of actually removing the plasma out. Yeah. So this is the way how we are seeing the aging reversal and longevity treatments is actually being done in a safer and also more efficient way by developing a new cocktail that we're having.
Well, all this treatment sounds too much like a science fiction almost. Is there a limit to the treatment? And do you think one day humans able to live forever?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So according to what we are seeing in Generation Lab as the basement of the science in aging, we believe that for this generation of human being, we will be able to live up to 120 years old or potentially 150. But after 120, we do need to replace our body parts with different silicones. Actually, like mechanical change, because the current body is not sustained for a forever young status. Yeah. In order for us to live ultimately, quote unquote, forever as a unlimited way, we do need to transform our body into a different format rather than just staying in this format of the like carbon-based solutions. So what we are seeing not only in therapeutic plasma exchange, there is a limit that you can maximally doing 6 times per year for current weight of the version 1, like V1. But in V2, what we are developing currently, by the end of year, that will be releasing very soon, a new cocktail of the albumin-based solution as a longevity cocktail that will be able to have a even stronger efficacy that you don't need to do 4 times per year in a better way, and also stronger effect of extending your health span and lifespan.
I'm wondering how much is the test cost and how much is the treatment cost?
Yeah, so the test that you just did is $499 per test, and you can do it twice per year or 4 times per year quarterly to see how your body is changing. Yeah. And for the therapeutic plasma exchange, currently it's ranging from $12K to $15K per treatment, and you need to do it almost every 3 months. Yeah. So doing 4 times to 3 times per year. But starting from next year, we'll be having a new version of treatment that will be extending it, so you don't have to do it every 3 months anymore.
Well, do the treatment work, and do you have the statistic or research to back them up?
Yeah, so if people are interested, we have actually published our clinical trial result online that's called Old Plasma Dilution, Reduce Human Biological Age by Dr. Alina Su. And what we are seeing is after 4 rounds of the dilution, what we are seeing as a entire whole proteomic profile, more than 2,000 different proteins, are actually reversing back to the younger stage, which is in the older plasma, you can see there's a lot of noise that has been happens. And in the younger plasma, there's very little noise that you can see. And after plasma dilution for the first round, second round, third round, fourth round, you are seeing the entire proteomic is actually reversing back to young, which is the entire heat map has been changing back to a younger stage of more regulated space. And what we are seeing not only in proteomics is also the DNA damage has been reversed dramatically, with P16 of the senescence marker has been reduced dramatically. So aging itself is very hard to study because it's not only one single pathway or one single markers of the gene or proteins. It's accumulation of more than 2,000 different pathways in your body acting together, and that's the formation of the aging. Yeah. But the importance of this treatment of therapeutic plasma exchange is we're not only seeing one single pathway that's changing, we're seeing more than 2,000 different proteins of more than 20 pathways are changing at the same time back to young. So I encourage people to check it out for the paper.
Yes. Thank you for your time today.
Of course. Thanks for having me.